The reason I talk about women the way I do is because I hold myself to such a high standard as an individual.
Because females have low IQs, right? Because women are stupid.
A woman sleeps with multiple people, that's cheating. It's fine if I do, I'm a man. They want to be me.
You're the man of the day.
I'm always the man of the day.
I'm a chip off the old block. I'm a chip off the old block.
The alpha male can be defined as a man tending to assume a dominant or domineering role in a social or professional situation. Or this.
The average male body count in their entire life worldwide is 7. The average female body count in their entire worldwide over a lifetime is 14.
The more you get pregnant, the more your value declines.
Red flags in women if she wears a lot of makeup.
Stop being a puppy! Be a dog! Hump that leg!
As of late, YouTube and TikTok have seen a dramatic uptick in content concerning the manosphere, an online network of content creators with a central focus on men's issues. While ranging in ideology and presentation, the one thing all these media personalities tend to have in common is hating women.
Being that women are the physical manifestations of this phenomenon, they can't be trusted to handle anything of greater responsibility, anything of greater importance than daily household chores and taking care of babies.
Marketing content towards lonely teenage boys in need of a father figure has proven to be a surprisingly profitable racket for a slew of failed pickup artists.
You want to go for a ride?
No, I can't.
Go for a drink? Okay, gotcha.
Take the Fresh and Fit podcast, for example. Comprised of Walter Weeks and Myron Gaines, the two buddies offer wise words along the lines of financial, fitness, and especially romantic advice to their audience, hoping to transform boys into men by navigating them through the treacherous world of dating, when really they just berate female guests to their face.
You've definitely disqualified yourself from a large portion of the same very men that you want to attract.
That's really rude.
Despite their many controversies and track record of questionable takes, Walter and Myron are thriving. Sinking their teeth into every major platform, Fresh and Fit have taken the internet by storm, influencing a new generation of kids one embarrassing snippet at a time.
And I'm tired of women out here telling dudes, small dick energy, you're insecure, You can't even be a fucking decent woman and not be a slut. I'm not going to the Lamborghini dealership with 300 bands to pay pay $300,000 for a Lambo with 200,000 miles on it, bro.
Sure, these clips are ridiculous and they may be fun to laugh at, but they shouldn't be written off, as these warped ideas still resonate with millions of people and shape online discourse. Reinforcing decade-old perspectives, influencers adjacent to Fresh and Fit confirm the biases of their overwhelmingly male audiences, allowing these men to make sense of the terrible card they've been dealt in life by legitimizing hateful rhetoric at the expense of women. The age-old dilemma of should I go to therapy or pay a bald millionaire thousands of dollars to legitimize my dated worldviews, a concept of which no man has benefited more than the one I'd like to explore today, the biggest pillar of the alpha male community, Andrew Cobra Tate.
I see myself as superior to females and not in a negative way. If you don't want to make me a cup of coffee, that's perfectly fine. Pack a fucking bag. I always market disabled base. I'm not a bad person. Most people are slow and stupid. I'm fast. So I walk around my house with a sword.
This is going to be a long one, so let's go ahead and hear from today's sponsor, Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. Bloodline Heroes of Lithis is a card-based fantasy RPG displaying visually stunning 3D graphics that allows you to not only collect champions and build kingdoms, but even create legendary heirs of your houses by combining the forces of various bloodlines such as orcs, lycans, demons, and dragonborn. Customize your champions by marrying different bloodlines, giving you the chance to determine the unique strengths, traits, and skills of the next generation of heroes, which means you can create stronger offsprings and develop your family tree until your champion inherits the best traits from their parents. Level up yourself to unlock even more companions for free, and when you use my link, you'll get the Karg Dragonborn clan and the Hybrid Heir for free. Build your own economy and kingdom on Android or iOS when you scan the QR code on screen or click the link down below. Use my gift code in the description option to get a special starter pack worth $20 that includes 20 intimacy packs, 100,000 gold, and 100 diamonds. It's free to play and downloading helps the channel. Huge thanks again to the wonderful people over at Bloodline Heroes of Lithis for helping out with this one.
Because my brain is far too advanced. I'm too smart to read. I need to be driving a supercar and fucking fighting, fucking a bunch of hoes and champagne and going crazy. I walk into hell and the devil's like, oh, I'm gonna burn you. It's like, you're gonna do shit.
Andrew Tate is a 35-year-old kickboxer, millionaire, playboy, crypto enthusiast, sword wielder, book hater, and disgraced reality TV star turned lifestyle guru. Sitting at about 500,000 subs on YouTube, Andrew prides himself on delivering hard-hitting truths about women, business, and reality to his army of dedicated fans.
I guarantee there would be less divorce, happier families, and a better society as a whole if the women could only marry the men their father says they could marry. You're a fat, ugly sack of shit. Therapy is not action. Therapy is sitting and crying and complaining. If you feel depressed, you go to the gym.
While a few of his more notable posts have made the rounds on Twitter in the past, it wasn't until recent that Andrew really began to hit his stride and make a name for himself as an influencer, thanks to the help of Twitch and TikTok. With moments like these being posted left and right by a multitude of fan pages, it's no wonder the Top G has become so talked about.
Have you ever seen a Chinese person working for someone who wasn't Chinese?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Long story short, he is absolutely insane. But while some may brush off such ridiculous sound bites as satire, treat him as a joke, or outwardly challenge his theories to his face, others look to him as the second coming of Jesus Christ himself, spending hundreds, thousands of dollars to join what is essentially just a glorified Discord server. All made possible by the millions of loyal followers he's gained in an impressively short amount of time. A cult of meat-riding zealots who value the words and opinions of a man who is currently under investigation by the Romanian police because of human trafficking, in which he responded by calling the accuser soy. Man. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, because after all, this is a very well-liked individual. As shocking as it may be, Andrew rates pretty high on the bald guy likability chart, at least within very specific online communities. To his critics, however, Andrew is an abomination, spearheading a socially dangerous movement, the self-proclaimed king of toxic masculinity. Whether he's writing depression off as a myth, questioning the legitimacy of the 2020 election results, or spouting oddly sexist observations that are just completely wrong.
well, it's been proven that the smartest people in the world are men.
See, that's
But-
I think where
That's been
we're
proven.
is some issues.
That's
Proven how?
been
By
proven.
By
That's
who?
been proven.
How?
Read the study. It's more likely men are out there.
What study?
Google it.
What
You're
are you
professional.
yelling?
I googled are men smarter than women, and literally every single study says there's no difference.
I'm not. This is not sexist because I'm saying the most stupid.
But I think it's wrong. Like based on everything, I just think it's wrong. Like there's like 20
okay, cool.
studies that pop up.
It's clear that Andrew Tate has layers, but to understand who Andrew Tate is, we must first know where he comes from. So I suggest you sit tight, strap into your Bugatti Chiron, and prepare yourself for a deep dive into pure insanity.
This is my fucking world, and you exist in my world. If you don't want to play that game, shut the fuck up, or I'm gonna hurt you.
For those that don't know who you are, and have been living under a rock, can you please tell the people who Andrew Tate is?
Okay, well, I've lived an eclectic life, right? So I've lived many different lives. I like to think the reason I'm so wise is because I've lived 1,000 human years. So I've done a lot of different things. I've been broke, I've been rich, I was a professional athlete, I was a webcam pimp, I've done it all.
Emery Andrew Tate III was born on December 1st, 1986 at Walter Reed Army Hospital in Washington, D.C., the eldest of two siblings, Janine and Tristan, the latter of whom we'll be discussing quite a bit, and the former being estranged from the other two.
I have a sister who doesn't talk to me, lives in America, you know, full left-wing BLM crazy, thinks that I exploit women because of my business. You know, she's just a hater. I have nothing bad to say about my sister. She just doesn't talk to me. We just don't talk. Haven't spoken properly in years. Wish her all the best. I don't know, but she lives in fucking Kentucky somewhere. I don't know.
That's right. According to both Tristan and Andrew, their sister refuses to speak to either of them. Gee, I wonder what could have caused that little tiff.
My sister and I, we don't really talk. We don't talk because she goes to feminist rallies and believes Trump's a racist. I know. How can Andrew Tate have a low IQ sister? She lives in America and she's not very smart. Arguing with her, talking to her is annoying because her points are baseless
and she's low IQ.
Their father, on the other hand, was a professional chess player, an achievement both Tate brothers have always been known to laud and appreciate.
Our father was a professional chess player, driving from chess tournament to chess tournament in a Pontiac Sunbird. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost. A lot of the time he slept in the car. Had a couple thousand here maybe, but then he had to play chess with it for the next 3 or 4 months, driving across America from California to New York in a busted up Pontiac Sunbird, playing chess and winning games.
While Andrew was still very young, his family moved from DC down to the south side of Chicago, bouncing around poorer areas of Illinois before making the jump to Luton, England, where all 3 siblings would be raised. However, not all was well within the Tate family household.
When my mom and dad split up, we moved to England, and my sister stopped talking to my dad because obviously my mom was upset because they split up, and my dad cheated, and my sister stopped talking to them. And me and my brother.
Can we just explain the quotation marks on cheating?
Okay, we can explain it. We'll explain cheating. I'll come back to it in a second.
I mean, she should have expected it. I mean, that's who he was.
You know, he walks in the door. My mom's like, "Emery, where you been? It's been 2 months. I don't know where you've been. What is this? I've gone through your clothes. There's a picture of some bitch in your da-da-da." And my dad had been home for 42 minutes, and he'd just go, "Sorry, son, she won't shut up." Walked out again. See you in 2 months.
With the move coming off the heels of the divorce, his parents had gone their separate ways by the time Andrew was just 4 years old. It was arranged that Andrew's mother would look after the children in England, while his father stayed back in the US to compete in chess tournaments. A decision that, one way or another, directly affected the trajectory of Andrew's life.
I don't think I was necessarily too upset by it. You know, I was still, my father was very realistic with me, and he said, "Look, I'm still going to see you, but you're going to England. It is what it is." So I don't think I was particularly upset by it. I definitely wouldn't say I was traumatized by it. But it did alter my life trajectory because I lost my chess coach.
Andrew has always taken the art of chess very seriously, incorporating its skill and intricacy into his own business practices, and symbolism into his own branding. Having such an outlet diminished at such a young age must have been tough, but it wouldn't be long before he figured out how to channel his energy into another skill, one that by his own admission would be of great use no matter where he went.
With fighting, is something you internalize, and for me that was interesting to have something that I've always got with me at all times. So that's the reason I was interested in it, if that makes sense, as opposed to other sports where you need all this other shit for it to even be relevant.
It's safe to say Andrew's passion for fighting has remained a massive part of his character, dating all the way back to the day he was born. If you believe this unhinged biography I guess he wrote himself. 2 weeks overdue, I was nose breathing already as the doctor held me upside down by my heels and my right fist was inside my mouth as I suckled. The doctor pinched my thigh to get a response and I growled, knitting my brow and trying to crane my head up to see who had attacked me. The doctor paled, shocked at my defensive powers. I did not cry. That's awesome, man. On the side of working a few odd jobs, Andrew grew to hone his boxing and martial arts skills, and by 2009 had gone on to win the International Sport Karate Association Full Contact Cruiserweight Championship. I understand this may sound like I'm speaking another language if you're like me and have never followed anything resembling kickboxing in your life, but anyone interested in the sport, especially around this time, would certainly come to know Andrew on somewhat of a significant scale. At one point, Andrew was ranked #1 at his weight in all of Europe. Though he lost his first world championship to Jean-Luc Benoit, he contested the results and beat Benoit in a rematch just 3 months later in Luton, where he officially became champion. Securing his second ISKA world title in 2013, Andrew traveled the world as a professional kickboxer. I'll spare you the details because frankly his athletic achievements don't concern much of this video. Regardless, after initially retiring at 28, Andrew eventually came out of retirement and famously challenged Jake Paul to a fight in 2020, sparking a feud that's lasted ever since.
I will fight you any day of the fucking week. I live in the real fucking world, Jake. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you.
He runs with this whole thing like, "What color is your Bugatti?" Andrew, like, it's not cool to tell kids that they need a Bugatti to be cool. My Bugatti that I have is in a Morgan Stanley bank account, compounding interest and hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's cooler than having a fucking Bugatti. It's kids who are virgins who think by watching him they will get laid. That's who his audience is.
But I think he's training them to not get laid, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
Like I want them to get laid.
They're
but
pissed off at girls because they've never gotten laid, and they think by being this alpha male and copying this douchebag who wears giant fucking aviators indoors on his fucking podcast, they think that's gonna get him some pussy. Like, no, Andrew Tate's fans are all virgins. And they're watching him to try to get laid, but they're going to get spit on and slapped by a girl. That's what's going to happen.
See, Andrew may have been a world champion, but that's not where he earned his millions. After he hung up his gloves, he needed a way to make money and occupy the time he once spent in the ring. So he continued his career in the public eye, this time by joining the 17th season of the UK's Big Brother in 2016, exerting his famous alpha male dominance over every last member of the house. By basically being too afraid to talk to anyone properly.
Well, who the hell's actually nominated him in here? He gets on with everyone. So they're not going to understand.
No, but right now,
Jackson
with the dynamics that are going on in the house, I definitely think Marco's going to be the better choice.
If we don't
Well, we're going to do a vote. We're going to do a vote on this one.
Yeah,
Marco.
It's literally so funny to see Andrew Tate, a guy who's hailed for the Patrick Bateman-like energy he supposedly exudes, being talked over and ignored by everyone in the room. After watching so much footage of this guy talk, it's kind of refreshing.
He seems kind of shy. I don't know. Everyone else is like interacting, and he just kind of chimes in occasionally with like, "No, we should do this." Oh. I think we should. Maybe this is before he got his giant ego.
But unfortunately, this reign didn't last long, as Andrew would soon become the first house member to be evicted a whopping 6 days after the show began.
Big Brother has called Andrew to the diary room.
Due to events in the outside world, Andrew has had to leave the Big Brother house.
What? Oh my God, that's the first one out.
That's right, Andrew Tate lasted almost 2 weeks less than even Sam Pepper. I don't know what it is with absolute freak shows going on the British Big Brother, but someone should probably look into that. With such little time actually spent on the show, navigating the scene and making awkward conversation with other house members, you must be wondering, why'd he leave so soon? Well, depends who you ask. If you ask Channel 5, it has to do with some outside activity, accompanied by a leaked video of Andrew seemingly lashing a woman with a belt. Now, both parties have since defended the video as consensual and that the belt didn't actually hurt her, before Tate shared an image of the girl holding the belt and posing with a tattoo reading Tate's property on her pubic region. I'm not going to show the video here because it still makes me uncomfortable, and there are a few other abuse allegations we'll be sure and cover later. According to him, the real reason he was kicked off the show was because of his master plan. The producers were too afraid of him enacting. To quote Andrew, "I had an amazing master plan, and the producers of the show were worried that if I did such an amazing plan and got caught, that it was gonna kick off in a big way." Real shame we never got to see it. Always a little hard to know exactly what Andrew means, considering his bizarre relationship with words. Which leads us to another signature aspect of Andrew Tate, his infamous persona. Whether or not Andrew is playing some kind of character or saying these things to be satirical may be clear to some, but remains undetermined in the eyes of other spectators. Which is reasonable enough. It's hard for any normal person to watch this and assume he isn't joking.
If I were to get on a plane and that plane was to fly into the eye of a hurricane and there was a 50% chance of it crashing, I'd want a male pilot because I think that males are better under stress and under pressure. I think they're less likely to get emotional in a life or death situation. That's why they make better soldiers.
Only issue is, he isn't joking. At least not according to him.
I mean what I say, but I'm funny. But it's certainly, definitely authentic. I might be delivering things in a more dynamic way depending on the setting. But all in all, that's basically pretty much what I'm like.
This is the real me. I have a showbiz version, but it's all very real. These are the things I say. These are the things I believe. These are the things I talk about in my private networks. I just don't talk about them here to public. I don't talk about them nearly as deep or as advanced.
While his diehard supporters may jump at the chance to dismiss some of his more offensive language as nothing more than crude humor, Andrew himself has openly stated the contrary, insisting that every take, every opinion he lays out in front of us reflects his genuine beliefs. Now, he may lean into the douchebag persona from time to time by use of hyperbole or by getting a massage during a debate with XQC, but that doesn't mean his words represent anything other than his true true school of thought. And anyone who may imply otherwise is both enabling harmful rhetoric and dismissing a major part of Andrew's identity. In fact, even he would consider it offensive.
I'm genuinely confused. So when the camera's off,
Yes.
I stop believing the things I've lived.
That is true. Andrew,
I stop believing the things I say. Only a person with a low IQ would even contemplate that's a possibility. So when someone comes along and goes, he's an actor, what is the logic fail?
He isn't playing a character, this isn't satire, and the more people willing to write him off as such are only aiding to normalize this kind of language going unchallenged as it gains traction in the mainstream.
You don't go to the gym to get strong to just be weak in secret. It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make any sense.
Besides, this kind of behavior from Tate is nothing new. Sure, he may have only risen to online notoriety over the past few months, but he's been known to grace tabloid headlines since before his fans exited the womb. And I know Andrew's fans may roll their eyes, but I have to give another trigger warning here, as this next segment will be discussing Andrew's various brilliant takes on sexual harassment. And by brilliant, I mean god-awful. In October of 2017, Andrew went on a bizarre rant that would become rightfully chastised by celebrities and news publications all over Europe, beginning with the assertion that women coming out against Harvey Weinstein shouldn't qualify as victims if they, quote, exchanged sex for opportunity. Tweeting, Harvey, creep? Obviously. But women have been exchanging sex for opportunity for a very long time. Some did this, weren't abused. Continuing, if you put yourself in a position to be you must bear some responsibility. With sexual assault, they want to put zero blame on the victim whatsoever. Andrew continued, before going on to compare women to inanimate objects. If I left $1 million outside my front door, when it got stolen, people would say, why was it there? Irresponsible. I can say nobody should steal, it's wrong, and everyone will agree. But still, very little sympathy per my bad decision pre-thievery. A comparison so obviously egregious, I don't think you need me to sit here and explain what's wrong with it. Miraculously, finding a way to shift the blame away from women for a second to attack immigrants instead, all within the same unhinged stream of consciousness. While liberals scream that nobody should rape, women can walk around naked, and men shouldn't look you import waves of third world migrants, but that's a different part entirely. I'm not even sure what point he was even trying to make. Andrew's brain has been rattled by so many concussions over the years, I'm surprised he can even string a sentence together at all. Finishing off this deranged diatribe that quite literally no one asked for, with the conclusion, pretending women are blameless and men shouldn't rape is stupid. A profound and eye-opening take that should concern you, considering this man isn't exactly the fringe ex-reality TV schmuck he once was. He's now one of the trendiest and most well-respected influencers of today. More Googled than even Mr. Beast, revered among the manosphere as a beacon of truth shining bright in a sea of woke nonsense, even as he's weaponizing child illness against a desperate father.
What happened is some leftist guy got upset by my Twitter and attacked my Twitter and attacked me personally for about a good hour. I was ignoring him for about a good hour. He said something like, if I had your kind of money, my son wouldn't be in trouble. And then I replied, well, what's wrong with your son?
John Rosenberg is an award-winning cartoonist known for a variety of webcomics he's produced over the years. One of his sons has cerebral palsy, and a few years ago was accepted for a life-changing surgery that had the potential to treat his condition. The only issue was, as one could assume, the procedure wouldn't be cheap. But with John having a decent following online, he decided to set up a GoFundMe to provide the means needed for his son to get surgery. A noble cause that pretty much anyone on the planet could support, other than one man, Cobra Tate. After the two shared a heated back and forth in October 2017, a big month for Andrew, I guess, John remarked that if only he had the same fortune as Andrew, he'd be able to pay for his son's surgery no problem. To which Andrew responded with, do you feel like a failure that the amount you need to help your own son is less than a quarter than I spend on my 5 cars? I will help you if you ask. It's nothing to me. Your comic books have failed, but I am a success. Ask nicely and I'll save your son. Going on to doubt the existence of his child's medical condition entirely, falsely accusing John of lying about his son's cerebral palsy before repeatedly insisting he begged him for money. When in reality, John responded to this little offer with, you can take your money and shove it up your superior asshole, Cobra Potato. Come punch me already. So, I wouldn't exactly call that begging. Plus, unbeknownst to Tate, John had already reached his goal with over 1,000 people raising $65,000 in just a week, all before the top G ever extended his selfless offer. But that didn't stop him from taking credit and reveling in the glory provided by his brainwashed fans, retweeting one post that read, "Andrew, the hero we don't deserve but badly need." As far back as this exchange may have been, it's important to realize just how little has changed over the course of so many years. In 2022, Andrew Tate is just as much of a scumbag narcissist as he was half a decade ago. His fans rallied behind his provocative words back then just as they do now, contributing to the harassment of a father who only wanted to provide for his family. A father taking action to help his own son is a sentiment you'd think Andrew would be able to understand, if he had even a modicum of sympathy or compassion for anyone that wasn't himself. But as evident by his views on depression, we already know that isn't the case.
Haunted house, right? You have two people in two haunted houses. One believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You hear some noise in the night. The wind blows, right? The man who believes in ghosts is like, oh no, a ghost. Now he's scared. The guy who doesn't believe in ghosts goes, wind, whatever, and goes back to sleep. Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power?
Right.
If you don't believe in ghosts, the ghost can't hurt you. If you don't believe in depression, you can't become depressed. And I refuse to believe in something that's going to weaken me. Why would I believe in something that's going to weaken my ability to deal with problems in life? Why would I do that?
About a month prior to the GoFundMe situation and the Weinstein tangent, Andrew Tate provoked the entire internet with some pretty brash assertions, tweeting, "Depression is not something you catch from the sky. Take responsibility for yourself and your life. Push forward and it's gone. Fact." Not even a week before World Suicide Prevention Day, Andrew decided to label depression as a personal weakness instead of a medical condition that obviously exists according to virtually every physician on the planet. But hey, I'd rather listen to the guy who gets kicked in the head for a living. Now, this opened up a days-long firestorm of debate involving celebrities like Patton Oswalt, medical professionals like Dr. Vikas Shah, and even J.K. Rowling, who actually pulled her head out of her ass long enough to make a few decent points for once. Responding, "This thread will teach you a lot about the defense mechanism of projection, but zero about the real mental illness that is depression." Now, the thread in question is of course gone, seeing that Andrew has been kicked off the platform many times over. But according to this article from around that time, author Michael Tannenbaum highlights these posts and shows Andrew doubling down in his argument, spouting things like, "Everyone's depressed nowadays," tweeting me, "I'm depressed," and I think, wow, it must suck to lose it life that hard. Boo-hoo. Depression is overprescribed by 10,000%. Weakness is celebrated. Personal responsibility is absolved. That's the reality. The way depression is so violently defended is strange. So desperate to be unhappy and have an excuse to not change it. Very odd. Big Pharma supports the depression lie. You can't fix it yourself. Tate is crazy. It can only be cured with meds. Keep popping the pills. Since my post, I've had tons of previously and currently depressed people telling me I'm 100% correct. A bombardment of anecdotal stories and frankly childlike arguments that hardly hold up in the face of actual evidence and numbers regarding depression. For instance, Mental Health America notes 50 million adults in the United States who experienced mental illness in 2019 alone, which is about 19% of all adults. And those are just the ones who reported it. A more recent 2022 study cites that over half these individuals have not sought treatment, totaling to at least 27 million people in the US suffering from mental illness without any prescriptions or professional assistance. I'm not saying that instances of overprescribing don't happen, they do, but Andrew is deliberately showing one side of a way more nuanced discussion as a means to be brash and justify the conclusions he's already made. It's crucial we work to normalize these issues as much as possible, not dismiss them and ostracize those who are struggling with depression. Pinning the root of depression on weakness simplifies the very real, legitimate factors that may be contributing to your ailment, factors that are often out of your control. But don't listen to me, take it from Robin Williams' daughter, who responded to Andrew's tirade with, "Whatever your intention, this happy people telling the depressed to get off their ass mentality is harmful, problematic, and wholly useless," she wrote. "There are no experts in happiness, and he's clearly not an expert in depression. There is pain in suffering. There shouldn't be shame. To those internet bros out there who think that manning up means showing a complete lack of empathy, fear the day you need it. It'll come."
People come at me and think they're smart. And they say, well, what about Robin Williams? He was famous. He killed himself, blah, blah, blah.
And I say, yeah. And I'll tell you why he killed himself. He killed himself because of people like you who are telling him depression is real, not people like me. If he would have walked into his first therapy session and his therapist said, look, Robin, you're a millionaire, you're famous, you can fuck any woman alive. You coming here is insulting to people with PTSD and genuine conditions. Grow up and get the fuck out my office. I guarantee he'd still be alive.
But these opinions make sense when we consider how much of Andrew's worldview is rooted in traditional values. Upholding patriarchal ideas and blaming society's downfall and its deviation from what was once considered moral and correct. It was reported that even back in 2018, Andrew ranted about the decline of Western civilization on Facebook after seeing a poster at the airport encouraging girls to go on holiday as opposed to encouraging being a loving mother and a loyal wife. Andrew believes a woman's primary role is to serve her husband rather than pursuing a life or career of her own.
If you're not going to have children, what are you going to do with your lives?
Travel, just pursue anything that makes me happy, try to make money.
Travel, focus on my career, things like that.
I honestly just want to get right into my career.
Do whatever the fuck I want.
A life without children is vapious, and it's inane, and it's pointless. And when you're 52 and you're past it with no grandchildren in a house by yourself, and all your friends have grandchildren in this beautiful life, and you're sitting there by yourself, do you think the fact that you can afford a few extra Gucci bags is going to genuinely make you feel happy?
But these are hardly new principles. In fact, they've been widely preached for the past century. But because our world is slightly more progressive now than it was in the 1950s, Andrew is suddenly lauded by modern reactionaries as brave for exhibiting these thoughts freely, going against the grain and speaking his mind whenever and however he wants. And why shouldn't he? It's gotten him this far, hasn't it? Andrew Tate has built an empire off telling people what he thinks and why his ideas are objectively correct. Which would be one thing if those ideas didn't consist of women can't drive and should be treated as property.
I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. I'm not saying anything which is really, truly even controversial. The whole world agreed that the woman belongs to the man when she decides to give herself to a man.
I mean, if you knew anything about Andrew before clicking this video, it's that he isn't exactly the poster child of modern day feminism.
A lot of these dudes talk about fertility and looks and stuff. If I meet a girl who's 33 and single, I know the amount of dick that's been through her before me is just simply unattractive. If I get a 19-year-old girl, I might be her second or third man, right?
But in general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. I'll say this right here on the internet. Once you're 18, if you want to get yourself a real man, I know a guy.
You do?
I do, yeah. I do know a guy.
Who is it?
What? It's a long story. I can't tell you exactly who because there's bad things about him.
Yo, there's no way you just said that.
Casually comparing women to the likes of animals or inanimate objects without even thinking about it, dehumanizing language is just embedded in his vocabulary. When pressed by Barstool's Dave Portnoy, Tate went on the defensive, stating that any woman who views herself as equal to a man is the exact kind of woman he would never give his time of day.
But there are also plenty of women who view themselves as every bit the equal of a man.
Those are the exact kind of women I would never ever give my time of day to.
And if a woman has an OnlyFans, that's fine, but she must owe her boyfriend her earnings because at the end of the day, that's his money.
You say a lot of stuff about women like that they're your property.
I said that if a woman is going out with a man, she belongs to that man. That's his woman. So if she wants to do OnlyFans, she owes him some money because she's his.
What about the other way around?
In a relationship, and if she wants to sell those, he has a stake in those parts of her body.
So it's reverse. Male porn star owes the woman.
I don't know, because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman.
That's inherently where you get.
It's worth noting that Andrew doesn't allow his girlfriends to go to the club without him, stating in one clip, I expect absolute loyalty from my woman, he says. I ain't having my chicks talking to other dudes, liking other dudes. My chicks don't go to the club without me. They are at home. Spoken by a true secure alpha. Keep in mind, Andrew has also gone on the record to say he doesn't believe female pilots should exist on account of their inability to park a car, and that women can barely be trusted to drive because every car accident that Andrew has experienced has involved a woman. I guess he forgot he was also involved in those accidents, but yeah, we'll let that slide for now. Andrew's riskier takes rely more on surface level shock shock value than actual facts and statistics, becoming especially clear after being demolished by Hassan Piker live on stream.
I've seen some of your work as you're doing the rounds on Twitch here, and a lot of the things that you said are just generally untrue. There's no empirical evidence to back up those claims, which is why you resort to anecdotes quite frequently and say things like, oh, well, it's just common sense, right? But it's not technically common sense.
My personal opinion based on my personal biases of my life experience.
There is a truth, and then there is your own personal opinion backed by anecdotes from your own personal experiences.
The fact that you're going on the internet, finding some study and saying that this is the truth, especially after the age of COVID and all the fucking truth we were told with that garbage, you want to sit here and say, oh, the internet said X. I'm sure the internet did. I'm talking about my personal experiences, and some people agree with me and some people do not. That is perfectly fine. Don't give a fuck if people agree with me or otherwise. People are listening to me and they're either agreeing with me or
I know, but
not.
you're still wrong, and that's the problem.
I disagree with you.
Do you want to be right, or do you want to keep speaking into a hug box where people agree with you? I'm simply asking you to look at the data.
So let's change the subject because you've just proven your point.
Okay. Andrew, do you believe, well, you didn't really prove anything, but it's cool. Do you believe the earth is flat? Oh, he took his headphones off?
He gets very stressed sometimes, and
yeah, it's cool. It's important.
Brother, and I
it looks flat, it feels flat, but you believe it's round. Why do you believe the earth is round?
Because I have personal experience that would prove to me that the earth is round.
Oh, you have personal experience. What happened? Did you go up to the fucking moon? Is that how you figured it out?
Exactly. I flew up into space and I looked down on Earth and I saw a big circle.
That's crazy. Okay. You don't have to, hey, listen, you don't have to concede on that point, but I think you and I both understand the importance of empirical evidence in that one, right?
You've ruined the stream. Everyone wants you out of it. So either change tune and get with the program and be fun, or keep sitting here and talking sarcastic and really slowly and repeating yourself and talking about how you only believe what you see on the internet because no one really gives a fuck and it's boring. All right. So let's move on.
It's clear from this exchange alone that Andrew reaches a conclusion first and works backwards from there, justifying his flawed positions any way he can, even if all the evidence he has is purely anecdotal. It's why he believes women to be stupider than men, despite scientific evidence proving otherwise. I personally don't understand how anyone can listen to someone so stubborn and unwilling to change their mind on anything, but that's besides the point. Andrew's inherently misogynistic ideals lie at the center of his character, a cornerstone of his success. They've remained consistent for as long as he's been online. The only difference is now he's able to push them to a much wider, more susceptible audience, garnering more than 8.5 million views on a video where he says this.
And I'm also saying that if a man did decide to explore his options, it would not be as disgusting as if a female decided to explore options.
Okay, wouldn't it just be disgusting then?
No. It's different if a woman does it. It's different if a woman does it. Everyone watching this knows it's different if a woman cheats. It's different.
What kind of relationship do you have with your mother?
To me, this is the video that pushed Andrew from being a niche micro-influencer to the social media juggernaut he is today, making appearances on huge podcasts all in the last 2 months of me recording this, invited into the Twitch zeitgeist by the 6th largest streamer on the platform and a MILF token beneficiary, Aiden Ross.
Anthony donated $3. The Taliban says hello.
What's good, buddy?
The bottom line here is that Andrew Tate has weaponized his new position in the mainstream in order to peddle a business of misogyny. It's one of the varied reasons he's been able to maintain such wealth. His educational courses generate millions of dollars per month. Take the PhD program, for example. For the low price of £778, you too can master the ways of a true professional and obtain your honorary PhD, your pimpin' hose degree, as he calls it. In fact, why don't we look at the original course description to get a better understanding? My name is Andrew Tate. I'm the most competent person on the entire planet to teach you about male-female interactions. How did I become rich? Webcam. I've been running a webcam studio for nearly a decade. I've had over 75 girls work for me, and my business model is different than 99% of webcam studio owners. Over 50% of my employees were actually my girlfriend at the time, and out of all my girlfriends, none were in the entertainment industry before they met me. I don't know if that's a flex. First thing, keeping 4 girlfriends all happy is requires hard work and leaves you with very little time. So you learn how to streamline getting new, good girlfriends. All women are not created equal. This is how I came up with what is now the PhD system. I learned the most time-efficient way to meet girls, get them through the dating process, get them to bed, test if they're a good girl or not, and begin the process of them falling deeper and deeper into love. That is my skill, to extremely efficiently get women to fall in love with me. That's it, and no one else on the internet is teaching this. No one. Which is a lot to lay out there. In fact, I guess it's no wonder he's since removed the subscription after it caused an uproar online. This webcam business of his has remained an area of question since it was profiled by the UK's Sunday Mirror, in which they described the Tate Brothers business as a total scam. Oh wait, except that's not the Mirror saying that. It's Andrew and Tristan themselves telling you they're running a scam.
My first two girls who worked for me because they loved me. I love this man.
Right.
I am with this man. We're a team. He's going to take me from the ghetto streets to the hotel suites. Right? So we're working together.
According to the Tate Bible, Andrew's own book that I read so you don't have to, you're welcome, thank me later, Tate introduces his business by writing, "Beautiful women work for me and make me millions of dollars. They obey me because they love me. They clean my house and make me coffee and get naked on demand. That's how I make over $300K a month. I own a webcam studio. It's no secret. I've never tried to hide it. The girls sit on a computer and make huge sums of cash. No man touches them except me. Everyone's happy, especially me." The webcamming business doesn't seem to exist now in the capacity that it once did, but it was originally how the two made their fortune following Andrew's departure from fighting, and the reason why 22 girls now have Andrew's name tattooed on their bodies, but maybe that's another story. According to what they told the Mirror, their studio employed over 72 scantily clad models, taking calls from fans paying $4 a minute. They can also set up private shows and pay tips at their own risk, whatever that means. While some men plummet into debt, others put up tens of thousands of their inheritance for these women, at least according to Tristan, who feels no remorse because no one cares, and it's their problem, not mine. These models were paid to scam men online, lying about their grave living conditions, pretending to have medical emergencies, dying family members, eviction notices. Andrew and Tristan's webcam empire encapsulates the specific business model the Tates have always employed, defrauding a particularly naive and desperate crowd in order to stack their millions higher. Good thing their scamming days are over and they'd never do that again, huh? But how did we get to this point, and how did the webcam business even come about to begin with?
So I text all my girlfriends, I think it was 5 of them, text all 5, said, "You're all coming here to live with me and work with me." None of them knew about each other. So I put them all around the same table, and I was like, "Look, we're gonna start a webcam business. You're gonna stay, you're gonna live in London. I'm gonna look after you, and we're gonna get rich. We're gonna be a team." And they're all like, "Well, who's this?" I'm like, "She's my girlfriend, she's my girlfriend, she's my girl. You're all my chicks."
Andrew and his brother get women. In fact, they're so secure in their sexualities, they spend pages upon pages of their book telling us about it. "We were always good with women. Do you know how many girlfriends I've had? I've always been good with women. Women don't chase me for money. I've always been good." At what point are you just trying to convince yourself? I mean, just a paragraph later, he's telling us how good he was at selling home improvement. Like, man, I don't care. How does this tell me how to get women and become a top G? Finally admitting that the problem with women is how expensive they are. In their own words, the two realized they needed a better system, and after seeing the potential in webcamming, the brothers realized how to put the apparent harem of women around them to work. Rather than me going out slaving all day, I had a few chicks of my own. I put one on webcam in my apartment, then we had 4 girls on cam in 2 bedrooms, one after the other. I slept in the hall. I was that money hungry, wrote Tristan. From there, the brothers were able to upgrade to a 5-bedroom penthouse in Hertfordshire, raking in huge profits before leaving the UK for Romania, around the time they made their first $1 million. But why the sudden move to Eastern Europe, you may ask? Well, I'll let Andrew explain.
People say, "Why didn't you in Romania?" And I explain my 5 reasons. One of them is the Me Too era. If you're gonna go to the police and say he me back in 1988, they're gonna say we should have done something about it then. They go, "Oh, well, you're a rapist." I say, "No, I'm not a rapist." But I like the idea of being able to just say to do what I want. I like being free.
Yeah, I did not edit that. A main reason Andrew moved to Romania, where he currently resides, is because of a lower chance of being caught for sex crimes. And they still got raided.
Romania is a beautiful place. There's no feminists. There's no open homosexuality. It's corrupt, which suits me because I'm f***ing rich. "Excuse me, you were speeding." Yeah, sorry, mate. What's I have to pay a fine? "Yes, you must pay a fine." "Oh, okay, yeah, bye."
speed off. He doesn't care. I don't care. Back done. It's corrupt, which I fucking love. No immigrants and refugees.
Back in 2018, it was reported that Andrew was involved in an altercation that took place at a nightclub. According to him, a man knocked his phone out of his hand at the club, and when he tried to fight back, he punched a woman by accident, breaking her jaw. And being investigated by British police for abusing another woman, Andrew had his home raided the first time and devices confiscated before being detained for 2 days in the UK, at least as outlined in The Guardian. Around the time UK police were investigating abuse allegations, Tate is understood to have left the UK for Romania. So could their sudden move to a West European country with notoriously relaxed sexual assault laws coming off the heels of an investigation by British authorities all be nothing more than a big coincidence? Of course, and I would never allege anything otherwise.
You never hit a girl, right? Can't do that. But if
we learned that the hard way last week.
You can't hit them. But if all the other girls see me be disrespected, they're going to lose respect for me.
Facts.
Right?
Yep.
So when she's like, I ain't cleaning that up, you get that. So I was like, look, I don't care. Got her shit out the window. So throws it out the window. Got her by her 2 arms and marched her out the door, locked the door. End of it. She went to the police.
Oh, shit.
And told the police I hit her. When I didn't. 4 months later, I'm laying in bed. And I heard the door, boom, 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 boom. Just pause for a second. I heard police. But I didn't know what it was for, right? But there's a few things I can't say in the podcast. I've lived a varied life, right? I've done some things when I had to pay the bills.
Right.
So I was a bit like, what's this going to be? So I flush my phone down the toilet quickly. Boom. I'm coming. And they're like, you're under arrest for a suspicion of assault of this dumb hoe. And I'm like, wait, this is dumb hoe?
According to them, the whole reason they started the webcam business was because of the plethora of women constantly around the house. They figured if the girls were there, they may as well monetize them, literally how they describe it in their book. In fact, when Tristan's girlfriend at the time refused to cam, he dumped her on the spot. He was dead set on using women to make money, and he didn't care what relationships got in the way of the bag. I mean, just the way they discuss actual human beings with each other is insane. If any girl got quote-unquote fresh with Tristan or Andrew, they were gone. They had adopted a new, modernized way of pimping women online for profits, and they've since encouraged their audience to do the same, advising if your girl won't wave her titties at a computer, if that girl won't do it for you to help change both of your lives, get rid of her straight away because she ain't ever gonna help you do shit. Going on to brag about sleeping with every woman they've hired, all but one from Lithuania who only sucked Andrew's dick, writing, "She escaped, I guess." What the fuck does that mean? There's no secret to how we made our money, gentlemen. We were internet pimps, and that's exactly what they encourage you to do as well, just so long as you buy their PhD course and gain direct access to the legendary Tristan Tate. Only if it's anything like their other courses, you may want to save your money.
Cobra is not someone I would take advice from, and definitely not someone I would buy a course from if I was looking to learn about marketing, e-commerce, Amazon FBA, or any online business.
Andrew likes to think of himself as Morpheus, breaking you out of the Matrix by forcing a red pill down your throat and screaming in your face that you will get rich just as long as you listen to his advice. I mean, he is the only human being possibly capable of teaching you the key to money making and business strategies because after all, he has supercars, mansions, a lavish life that you wish you had. As long as you're below Andrew's financial status, you are poor, and you need to change that in order to be fulfilled.
I, Tate, Lord of Earth, set the bar. I set the difference between rich and poor. My amount of money is the amount of money you need to be rich. If you have less money than me, even by a single cent, you're a fucking brokey, a wagey, a peon, a peasant, a nobody. You are poor.
But that all comes after you give him a quick $50 a month. Because what's the point of Andrew even sharing his abundant knowledge with the brokies if he can't make a quick buck in the process? Precisely $5 million a month, in fact. With how much he's been plugging this course on streams and interviews, it's no wonder Andrew's been able to crack over 100,000 members with his goal set on over 1 million students in the near future.
You will never achieve anything without me. That's why you need Hustlers University in the War Room. You need us. I don't need you. If you don't join, do I stop being rich? No. I don't care if you join or not. You need me. That's what Hustlers University is about, because I'm the only person out here who teaches people how to get fucking rich. And I do that on purpose because I want rich people around me, because when the battle comes, when the Satan returns to Earth and I need to make the battle call to the War Room soldiers, I ain't got time for no brokies.
But despite what may seem like glaring similarities to con men like Ty Lopez and Grant Cardone, Andrew Tate claims to be different. want. But how so? Well, let's take a look at the courses themselves. CobraTate.com offers more than a few options to change your life by selling every type of educational course under the sun. From a $200 fitness program, a $300 body language course, the $800 PhD we just talked about, and a full manga about Andrew Tate's life, Tales of Wudon. In a previous life, I lived 5,000 human years atop Wudon Mountain. I remember every lived second. Life is competition. Competition is violence. I can't be the only one who noticed that Andrew Tate in this perfect world gave himself the hair. Regardless, one of the two biggest courses to Andrew Tate's name is The War Room, a $4,000 global network in which exemplars of individualism work to free the modern man from socially induced incarceration by, I don't know, shooting barrels and boxing each other.
The War Room is everything outside of money. But the War Room will provide you with everything about the masculine imperative, the masculine life outside of money, and those things are actually far more important.
Andrew is intentionally vague with what the War Room actually consists of. From the limited info we have, you gain access to a network of millionaires connected over Telegram who must prove their place in the group even after paying the pricey entrance fee. What that means exactly, I couldn't tell you. It's so secretive, the only 3 members we know of are Andrew, Tristan, and some guy named Iggy, whose main job title is Master of Spells and Shadows, which is what I'm gonna start calling myself from now on. If getting to meet and work with the self-proclaimed greatest hypnotist to ever live, it doesn't make you want to take out a loan right now, I don't know what does. But we haven't even touched on Andrew's flagship program, the course he peddles on every interview and stream he appears on, the one you've probably already heard of in some capacity, Hustlers University.
Your worldview is about to change forever. If you have a seatbelt in your chair, put it on. If you don't, hold on tight. We're about to get rich. Right here, Hustlers University.
First thing to know is there are now 3 versions of HU. The first iteration, simply titled Hustlers University 2.0, the new and improved program he's been selling for $50 a month, with the Hustlers University 3.0 being added most recently. In fact, it's so recent, I barely have any information to work with. So I'd like to go ahead and start with the first version. As it may not be up for sale on Andrew's website today, copies of it still linger online, and from what I can tell, originally included Andrew sitting down with his students and explaining how business works through the means of references to the Third Reich.
I tell this to everybody all the time, and nobody understands what I'm trying to say. I'm going to try and articulate it. Speed is extremely important in business. Everything must happen instantly, quickly, fast, speed, attack. Hitler conquered Europe with blitzkrieg. You need to go quickly.
Yeah, only slightly jarring. According to Andrew, a business is like an airplane. It can't go down even when all engines fail, except eventually that is what happens, right?
If an airplane is flying through the sky, even if its engines fail, it will continue to fly. It will not fall out of the sky and instantly crash to the ground. It will continue to fly. Do you know why? Because it has forward momentum. And a business is exactly the same. The key with business is to make sure you're always moving forward.
No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't always keep going forward, brother. It inevitably crashes. Does this guy literally think engine failure doesn't ultimately lead to a plane crash? It's a great analogy that he just described because, yes, inevitably that plane has to land one way or the other.
Only a few minutes later, Andrew advises we lie about our business to start making money, but doesn't offer a ton of solutions for what to do once we can't fulfill any orders.
You can start businesses very, very cheaply if you do it the right way. Make a website, put some pictures on there, pretend you've got a whole bunch of stuff you ain't got, and start getting money in. You can start this business for $5,000. You're gonna start getting money in, and you're not gonna have any way to fulfill the orders. But back to business lesson number 1, because you're a fast worker, because you're industrious, because you work with speed, you'll find a way to fulfill the orders. Hey, listen, worst case, you give them the money back. Worst case, you refund them.
He then suggests that out of 40 startups costing $5,000 each, one of them has to work. Though if you did have those kinds of funds, I have no idea why you'd be sat here listening to this guy.
With $5,000 startups, you can now, for the same price as starting one company, you can now start 40 companies. One of them's gonna work, because they're $5,000 each to start. One of them's gonna work. So you have to learn that the idea of starting a business is not expensive. Get that out of your head. I'm a millionaire.
Not to mention any sort of helpful advice he may offer is just information you can find readily available online for free. Nothing that hasn't been done already, and certainly nothing profound enough to justify the cost. There's no reason to sift through hours of Andrew scribbling on a whiteboard when you can just look up proper business strategies on Google. I mean, it doesn't have to be this dramatic.
Forget studying. You can either go to university and look at books and study and be a geek, or you can learn how to make some money, because they don't teach you that in university. They don't teach you how to make money. Have you ever seen a college professor with an S63 and a McLaren and a Lambo and an Aston Martin standing next to a Porsche? No, you've never seen any of this. I know how to make cash.
Hustlers University 2.0 is a watered-down, soulless version of the original Hustlers University, if such a thing were even possible. The biggest difference being the format. Instead of paying to listen to the man himself, you're thrown into a Discord server and assigned a random quote-unquote professor who is not Andrew Tate. You never even get to see the top G from my understanding. Probably because he's too busy marketing the damn thing in between police questioning for sex trafficking. Sorry, I keep getting ahead of myself. Let's just get through the rest of this course so we can talk about the criminal allegations. Upon joining the Hustlers University 2.0 server, you're introduced to a time cash quadrant, in which you decide if you're time rich but cash poor, time poor and cash poor, time poor and cash rich, or time rich and cash rich. If you've lost track, that's okay, and none of this actually matters because you don't need this course. It's a waste of money. Whatever you choose, though, determines the group of courses you access, containing the most basic, surface-level information regarding anything from copywriting to drop shipping to freelancing. The instructors are there to make money and have been criticized for possessing no deeper understanding of what they're teaching.
So in these chat rooms where your instructors have a fraction of the charisma of Tate, you're supposed to commit yourself to these skill sets, which are super surface level.
There was some screen recordings for the website building and Facebook ad portions, but for most of it, it was just this absolutely basic PowerPoint presentation with a voiceover behind it. And the voiceover sounded like it was done through a laptop microphone. And we never even really got to see the person behind the voice. I'm not even trolling or joking. I feel like if I hired somebody on Fiverr to make me a dropshipping course, this is exactly what I would get.
What you end up doing in this course is sort of learning how to run an Amazon side hustle for Jeff Bezos. Like, no offense, you're not breaking the matrix.
One of the ways students of Hustlers University have been able to make their money is through their affiliate program, which has apparently been closed for a little while, according to them. Originally, it was to promote Tate and the course through the means of viral clips uploaded to TikTok and YouTube. So if you were wondering why Andrew was literally all over your For You page, it's because of these affiliates with an affiliate link in their bio. So we get left with an entire empire of Tate's Stan accounts peddling spliced up shorts of our top G alpha king to the masses, generating millions of impressions based off how extreme he is. And you wonder why he's so successful. While 2.0 might be different in the way that it's taught, the core purpose remains the same. Andrew is making money off vague promises. He's not necessarily selling how to get rich, he's selling the idea of becoming rich. If he can just get you in the door, nothing else matters. He has your money, and with over 150,000 members and counting, Andrew is able to turn a 7-figure profit each month purely off subscriptions alone. Yeah, you may make a couple bucks here and there, but it's ultimately benefiting him and his brother more than anyone else. To think you need to pay over $4,000 a year just to make money on the side is ridiculous. Money can be made anywhere without having to listen to these cartoony villains. Bowing down to these two geniuses in hopes that they'll make you a little money, all because they speak to your inner insecurities and validate your misogynistic tendencies, is truly one of the most embarrassing and beta things I've ever seen. If you think for a second that the guys who openly admitted to running a total scam of a webcam service, tricking desperate guys into pouring their life savings into their business, wouldn't do the exact same thing to their loyal, loving fans, I've got some news for you.
Tell me why you joined. Your other friend said he joined. It changed his life.
I joined too, by the way. I can tell you why I joined too.
Have you made more than you invested?
Yeah, duh.
So is it a good investment?
Duh, I made money. I made loads.
How are you making money?
By
How are you
selling the
making
book
money?
or what?
I don't want to.
How are you making the money?
Don't worry about how we make our money. Join the program.
You got to sign up to see.
That's right.
Bro,
That's
this is such a scam, brother.
I joined. I was like, dad broke. My joined. That guy even broke her. So I don't know what the fuck
like what I joined account broker.
One of the main reasons Andrew has racked up so many new subscriptions to HU over the past month is thanks to the help of streamers and podcasters allowing him to talk up a big game on their shows. He conveys just the right amount of information without revealing too much in order to sell it, with him and his clones using cryptic language to sound more alluring.
It's not
Yeah,
necessarily.
I want to hear it. What did you do? You make it bread how?
Find out. We ain't gonna give it away for free. I can't just say that's towards him. I can't just give out his sauce.
So did you get a job or are you selling the book? What
No,
are you doing?
I didn't have to get a job.
So no job.
Okay, so how did you do
Not
it?
selling the book. So did you make money appear? Like what are you doing? You're saying weed?
So if you would have gone on his joint,
Sign
bro.
up. Just sign up.
That's all. You just gotta
Sign up,
sign
bro.
up, bro.
Sign up. It's $50. Don't be tight.
To desperate teens in search of a way out of the matrix, this course sounds like the key to freedom. And even if you've got doubts, as he says himself, you'll never truly know until you try it. He makes money no matter how you cut it. A grift that keeps on grifting. And Aiden honestly isn't wrong when he implies he should be getting a cut, considering Hustlers University tends to garner 6,000 new members per appearance Andrew makes on his streams.
You're not going to reduce our subscriber number. Every single time I do one of these Twitches, we get 3, 4, 5, 6,000 new students. Everything's going fantastic for us.
Yeah,
We're
because
just
so far, yeah, no, you admit it. You admit it. This is a good way to market your product.
I'm marketing.
Because people don't push back because Aiden is like I said, he's dick eating a little bit. He's
pretext.
not-
Bro, hey, you're not gonna talk to my homie like that. Watch your mouth. You're not dick riding.
Appreciate you, gang. Appreciate you.
It's worth noting that Andrew has since been banned from Twitch, so the way he sells this course in the future is gonna have to be a little different. But for the past little while, he's been advertising off the backs of anyone who so much as acknowledges him. So of course, the irony that I may be sending more subscriptions his way by making this video isn't lost on me. But it's an inevitability I've accepted, seeing as he'll continue to grift regardless of anything I have to say. It makes no difference, because we'll always have the Aiden Rosses of the world there to slob him off at any given chance.
But nice chatting to you, young man.
Stop! Don't go, bro. Andrew, please don't go.
That was terrible.
Which is especially uncomfortable to watch when you consider the open criminal investigation. On April 11th of 2022, Andrew made headlines once again when his Romanian home was raided by police in relation to a human trafficking investigation. With this particular Daily Beast article igniting the flame, journalist Will Summers wrote that the raid had been prompted by reports of an American woman being abducted and held against her will in a foreign country, a probe that escalated to include human trafficking and rape, according to Romania's Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism. Footage of the Tate compound being swarmed by officers in riot gear was released online, where Andrew and his brother Tristan can be seen nervously pacing around the property before being escorted into the back of a police van and driven away from their villa, not without confiscating computers, phones, and iPads. According to multiple Romanian news outlets, there appear to have been 2 women found at the property, a Romanian girl and the 21-year-old American who the police had originally set out to find. Tristan and Andrew, though, have claimed the exact opposite, that there were no women on the property and the whole investigation was based on a false report. No girls were found in my house and nobody was arrested. According to a Romanian newspaper, the 21-year-old American alleged she was approached by Tristan on Facebook, who after a short period was able to convince her that he was in love with her before she came out to Romania, leaving her boyfriend behind. A testimony that doesn't exactly go against the type of tactics Andrew bragged about in the PhD course, but does fly in the face of the Tate's own series of events.
So her boyfriend is obviously one of these believe all females, oh my god, my girlfriend's not a hoe kind of guys. She was a
She was, 1 second, she wasn't even hot.
Her boyfriend, who was obviously a fan of Emergency Meeting Live, saw her Instagram stories, said, oh my god, you're at the Tate brothers' house in Romania. This was some American chick. And she went, no, I didn't want to come to this party. They made me come here and I'm not allowed to leave. She said that to her boyfriend. That's some bullshit excuse. And the next day, the police come to our house. Fully loaded, the American embassy send the cops to our house. Now, they take us to the police station. So all the pictures of me and Andrew being taken away by the police, those are real photos. And what happens is they search our house. They find no drugs. They find no women. They find no people. They find nobody. If we were caught doing the things we're accused of, where the
Once again,
The girl can be seen in CCTV footage going outside to pick up a pizza shortly before the raid, which in the eyes of Andrew Tate fans absolves the brothers of any wrongdoing entirely. It's as if the mere fact that they aren't rotting away in a jail cell is enough evidence of their innocence for some people. But those people may be forgetting the many times Andrew has bragged about paying off Romanian police, claiming he has the money and influence to tell the police to off. After all, it is 40% of the reason they even moved out there. So the fact they aren't currently in jail doesn't hold a ton of value to me. I'd rather listen to the actual mother of the Romanian girl allegedly found at the compound, who insists Tristan preyed on her daughter's naivete to bring her out to the house in the first place. Unrelated, but while we're on the topic of Andrew's history with women, one lesser talked about video of Andrew from an unspecified date has drawn a fair amount of concern in light of the new human trafficking allegations, where we see Andrew verbally berating a woman and making her show off the bruises he gave her. Because I can't show it here, I'll just recite this transcript. And of course, I do have to give a trigger warning for abusive language. What are you moaning about, woman? Bruises. Bruises, why? Because I've been beaten. Beaten with what? With what? Your hand. Because you're a jerk. Show me the bruises. 1, 2, 3. I have an idea. Do you want to know my idea? The girl then walks away and locks a door, to which Tate yells, "Oh yeah, lock that door, you f***. You knew I was going to beat the f*** out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you." Just more non-concerning stuff from the guy who's publicly said this. But despite all the bans and allegations and news coverage, criminal investigations, Andrew Tate is still revered as an icon, idolized by both fans and fellow like-minded grifters. It's important to note that over the past few years, Andrew has connected with a handful of infamous right-leaning pundits and online personalities, brushing elbows with January 6 organizer Ali Alexander and conservative pundit Jack Posobiec, a known conspiracy theorist with a track record of making unsubstantiated claims for the sake of pushing a radical agenda. Andrew has also seen praise from professional liar Mike Cernovich, a man so infamous for his misogyny and plethora of violent language against women, I can't even read some of these out loud. Another figure often brought up when discussing Andrew's political affiliations is Paul Joseph Watson. When he isn't vomiting out anti-immigration rhetoric to an army of neo-skinheads, Paul has been known to pal around with Andrew Tate on more than one occasion, with each segment they shoot together somehow being more unhinged than the last.
Women are just... Oh, okay. Can I say it? Yeah, I can say it. Women are useless in most situations. They're useless in combat situations. They're useless in any kind of physical situation. But they want to walk around, take all my attention, expect me to buy them drinks and buy them dinner, and then not have sex with me and call me their friend. I don't see the benefit in any of them.
Andrew has also been chastised for his ties with UK anti-Islam activist Stephen Yaxley Lennon, or Tommy Robinson, describing him as a solid guy with a good heart. According to a recent Guardian article, Andrew had the police called on him in 2019 after showing up at the residence of Mike Stutchberry, a journalist who had previously spoken out against Andrew, an incident that came just days after Tommy Robinson did the same thing, a situation that reportedly caused Stutchberry's wife to suffer a panic attack and played a massive role in their decision to move out of the UK altogether. While Andrew may not posit himself exclusively as a political commentator, he's always left his beliefs out in the open.
It's all a scam. Let me tell you something, man. When this corona thing was going on,
Look like no, I'm not like these mask wearers. Trump is a G.
I want to emphasize the type of individuals he attracts and welcomes, because while railing against innocuous personalities like Danny Gonzalez or Ethan Klein, Andrew embraces the company of reactionary scam artists, even filling in as guest host of InfoWars whenever Alex Jones is away, presumably losing tens of millions in court. It's worrying to me in the sense how Andrew opens the door for young, impressionable teenage boys with a lack of direction in their lives to fall down this pipeline of harmful ideology. By coming across as some well-meaning motivational guru, Andrew earns a sense of credibility among unassuming viewers, those who may not be aware of his full story, opening the floodgates to a wave of more dangerous beliefs to be spread. He's like a Trojan horse of stupid takes.
People say, well, don't have Tate as a male role model, there's better ones. Where are they? There are no other male role models. Because to inspire the youth of men, you need to be aspirational. They have to look at you and want to be like you. And there's no other male role models that have had the tenacity or the aggressiveness to have such a fantastic life as I have.
Before he got banned, I decided to put my theory to the test, setting up a brand new TikTok account and seeing how long it took to go from Andrew Tate to alt-right adjacent content. And after about an hour and a half worth of scrolling, I went from a completely blank slate to my For You page being flooded with nothing but Andrew and Tristan. Coming across the occasional Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Jordan Peterson video, everyone you would naturally expect from that crowd, before finally landing on conspiracy videos, Alex Jones, and a speech from notoriously homophobic Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, all from nothing but Sigma male edits of Andrew Tate with Subway Surfers graphics, confirming the existence of a pipeline that Andrew was very much a part of, at least before TikTok completely nuked his accounts, along with YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Upon the majority of his internet presence being ripped away, Andrew went on to backpedal and really undermine the gruff, hyper-misogynistic reputation we've all become familiar with, acting like he never said any of the things he's said on camera.
And I said that, look, a lot of people are confused because I'm trying to build men up and help men understand that they have a value too, because I think in the world today, not many men feel valuable. I think a lot of men are very, very sad and depressed, and I'm trying to encourage the men to feel powerful and feel valuable. They think I'm trying to drag women down, and that's not the case.
Whether or not he'll return to these platforms in some capacity has yet to be seen. Individuals like Andrew Tate have a peculiar way of sticking around. While some defend his right to exist online, others rejoice at the mass exodus of his profiles. But what's not to be disputed is the lasting impact he's made on everyone who's been on the internet over the past few months. The Guardian article we discussed earlier paints a pretty worrying picture of the so-called legacy he's left, citing one woman describing how her boyfriend's attitude and opinions changed dramatically after being introduced to Andrew's content. One teacher taking to Reddit to express how Andrew Tate has, quote, ruined her freshman boys, claiming students are refusing to do assignments if they're sourced by a woman. I had 3 boys refuse to read an article by a female author because women should only be housewives, she wrote. Another replying, I had some kids put Andrew as their role model on their student info questionnaires this week. All the more reason why he deserves to be analyzed and critiqued to the fullest, as his words serve as nothing more than reactionary drivel for desperate and lonely individuals to latch onto. He speaks to the internal biases and insecurities of an entire generation, and thrives off attention both negative or otherwise, which means he isn't really going anywhere anytime soon.
What on earth, even in a million years of your wildest dreams, made you think you were gonna stop Andrew Tate?
For now, Andrew Tate will remain a role model for dudes who can't validate their feelings anywhere else, at least not until they grow up and experience more of the world. Until then, Andrew will continue to feed them the blue pill, tragically reinforcing their coddled and dated opinions of women, masculinity, and the world around them for years to come.
God loves me. I'm one of God's favorites. I'm not God, but I'm certainly one of his favorite ones.
What the God doesn't have favorites. God loves all of his children.
I am one of God's favorites. I'm the most famous man on the internet. I'm also a 4-time kickboxing world champion. I'm also extremely smart and sexy and funny and interesting. I have everything that every man has ever wanted.
Except hair.
Keep on, keep on.